If you guys don't have any experience with annuities, ask for help. The opportunities are golden. Okay, I'll tell you right now. And your friend Kathy on there, she was going like gangbusters, writing up IULs, writing up IULs, writing up IULs. Did that for the first year.
Not me, but the other Kathy.
Another Kathy, friend of ours. Okay, and she finally came to me a year later and said, like, man, I don't feel like I'm making enough money. You know, she was writing a lot of IULs. She was one of the few people I saw cash flow within 2 weeks of joining the company on there. That's how fast she was. But the IULs just weren't doing it because she was writing a lot of small ones just to get the business on there. I spent one-on-one time just to teach her annuities, and all of a sudden she made Champions Club within a couple of months after that training on there. Nothing will increase your income more than an annuity. To simply put it, okay, you go after the IUL, that's going to get you paid weekly. You go after the annuities, then that's basically going to be jumping up your income. It's kind of like whale hunting. You don't get a lot of them, and they take a while to get through. But once you get good at this and bring those on board, guys, there's absolutely no reason you guys shouldn't be making six figures once you master how to do a 403b transfer or any type of annuity. So I'm going to take you through some of the basics on this. All right. So what are the annuities? Basically, it's a long-term investment, okay, that's issued by an insurance company. And it's designed to help protect you from the risk of outliving your income, okay? What's the number one fear for most retirees today? Outliving. They're going to outlive their money, okay? Doesn't happen in the annuity world. And even the Treasury Department talked about that back in 2014, okay, where they actually said that buying annuities is going to be encouraged because that's what's going to provide for long-term savings for an individual. Think of it, any other forms of annuities that are out there? I just talked about one. CalSTRS pension essentially is like an annuity. Any pension is like an annuity, okay? Because what do you do when you get your pension money? You annuitize it. Now you can't get access to that money. Same thing with the annuities as well. It's going to give you an income for the rest of your life. So here's how it works. When you retire, your purchase payments, okay, are converted into periodic payments that guarantee a steady stream of income. Basically, it's going to be lifetime income for the rest of your life that you can do with an annuity. Okay, this is the key thing. Annuities are not growth products. Okay, we're not going to say that they're going to make more money than the stock market. You can get into that argument all day long on there, but all you're doing is just transferring risk because you can't, especially with the annuities we provide. Okay, we only provide annuities with no risk. That's all our license allows us to do as well. Now, how do they work? Okay, there are two stages. One is the deferral stage where you open an annuity and then fund it, and then either the company gives you a lump sum or it gives you periodic payments. Okay, and then the two is conversion, when the insurance company begins making payments back to you, okay, which is called annuitization. So you always have that opportunity to get that. Now, accumulation is basically the amount of time, these are just terms, that annuity has to grow, okay? There's an immediate annuity, okay? And I think it's Annuity that has their SPIA, where somebody has a lump sum cash and maybe they're not getting, income, or they want to get more bang for the buck. They could just dump it into an immediate annuity and start getting income like right away, okay? Right off the bat for the rest of their life. And then there's deferred, which is the most common one. That's where we're going to run to the schools, where the money grows over time. Now, understand there's three types of interest when it comes to the annuity world. There's fixed, okay, which is guaranteed minimum rate. There's index, which all of you should be familiar with. If not, I'm going to show you on the next slide. And there's variable, where it's basically 100% in the stock market. So this slide just shows the differences between, I always show this to the clients to help them understand what indexing is. Okay, so I'll take you through it real quick. Okay, basically the red line represents the stock market. That's that roller coaster going up and down. Next one is the straight line, which is your fixed account. And then the blue line is the index strategy. The way I always explain it to a client, an index strategy is a fixed account, but it has a variable rate based on what the S&P does. It shadows the S&P. So for example, if the S&P, let's say if the cap on it is, let's say 10% for simple math, and the market does 8, what do you get? Okay. If the market does 10, what do you get? The market does 15, what do you get? At 10. 10 is the cap, okay? Every single time. But when the market goes south, what happens? You keep every single dime of your interest and profits to date. So this illustrates it. So here's an example of somebody put $100,000 in the market, okay? Then we had the dot-com bubble burst. The 100,000 went down to 71. But look at what happened to the index one. They stayed right at $108,000. Let's fast forward. 2008 happens. And then that same person went down to $73,000. Okay? And what happened to the index? It stayed right where they're at. And even to date, I think indexing is still right above what the market does because why? You never suffer any losses. But here's the key takeaway that you need to emphasize to your client. When the people in the stock market go this way, what happens to the blue line? You stay right there. You're not going to make any money, okay? But you're not going to lose any money. In this case, what do we always say? Zero is your hero, okay? Because you haven't lost a dime. And that's why it's important to emphasize that what happened in 2008, a lot of people had to delay their retirement for 4 or 5 years because of that crash. Yes, go ahead.
Quick question. So are you saying like with the supplemental income from like summer school and all that other stuff, you could also take that lump sum and roll that into this? Or were you just saying
when they retire, can't touch it while they're working.
Right. So you said, but initially you said an IRA. So you're saying
IRA.
An IRA is an annuity?
I'll get to that. Think about it as this box. Okay, your 403 is a box. IRA, box. 401k, box. What goes inside of it are multiple things. One of the things that can go inside of a 403b and an IRA are annuities on there. So I'll cover that in just a bit. Okay. Any questions on this? All right, let's keep going. All right, tax treatment for annuities. Okay, they are tax deferred until the money is withdrawn, except for what? Roths. Okay, anything with a Roth doesn't get treated in the same manner. Why? Because you've already paid the taxes going in. So where do you find annuities? You can find them in tax qualified plans and non-qualified plans. So tax qualified plans are IRAs, 403bs, 401k, 529s. A lot of them don't realize that 529s are the Roth IRAs, Roth 401ks, 403b, Simple, SEP, KEO, all those, okay? You can look all this stuff up on the IRS website if you need to. What are the characteristics of the qualified plans? There's contribution limits, which we're going to cover, and access and distribution rules. A lot of rules, you know. If you guys haven't done so, start reading up on the Secure Act 2.0, okay? Secure Act 2.0 that just passed in December. Why? Because it affects your clients, but more importantly, it affects every single one of us here in this room, okay? And if you guys are ignoring it, there's a big train coming in 2025, guys. A big train, which we'll cover probably at a later date as far as how it's going to affect another portion of our business as well. All right, so contribution limits for 2023. You can get this off the IRS website, but for an IRA or a Roth IRA, $6,500 under age 50, $7,500 as a catch-up if they're over age 50. For 403bs, 450 and 401ks, it's $22,500 and up to $30,000 after age 50 on there. But there's one thing I want to share with you that this actually was given to me by TSA Consulting Group. When it comes to contribution limits, okay, if an employee is over age 50, okay, great, they can do the $30,000. But if they have 15 years of service with the district and have been averaging less than $5,000 a year in contributions, they can go as high as $33,000 on there. Very important to note, if you got somebody that is just starting a 403b in their early 50s, they can put more money away into this if they choose to as well. Over here on this side, if they're not 50, again, same thing. If they average less than, they have 15 years and they average less than 5,000, they can go as high as 25.5 before age 50 on there. So again, take a picture of this, okay? Keep this in your back pocket, but this also can create more opportunities because that's more money coming into an annuity, into the 403b, which each and every one of you will get paid on as well. All right, so let's talk about access and distribution limits after the CARES Act, okay? Everybody knows the 59.5 rule, okay? That means what, okay? You can't access that money before 59.5. That includes Roths. Even though there's no tax owed, you still can't get to a Roth until after 59 and a half. The other side is 72 and a half, which is distribution. And I'll never forget, I did a presentation where I had a teacher just sitting right in front of me like you are with a piece of paper in there. And after the presentation, she said, can you help me with this? And she showed me the letter from the IRS. She hadn't taken her RMDs or enough money, and they were threatening to start taxing her. Not only they were going to penalize her 50% and a tax on top of that if she didn't start taking money out. Why do you think the IRS wants you to do that? They want the tax. Plain and simple. They want the tax to come out. Regardless of what it is, it's basically meant to just squeeze that taxpayer on there. So next phase, okay, what are RMDs? Anybody know what RMD is? RMD is right there in front of you, okay? And that's going to vary. You can't qualify. But if they don't take money out by 72 and a half, and again, it's by the following April 1st deadline, once they turn 72 and a half, okay, they basically are going to require that they start taking RMDs. And National Life always sends that letter out on there. I wish they wouldn't send that letter out to clients that are already drawing on their GLIR or their guaranteed lifetime income rider, but they still do on there. So here's the RMD rules, okay? Basically, okay, apply to everything. 401ks, 403bs, 457s, and even to traditional IRAs, okay? And deadline for receiving the RMDs, the year they turn 72 and a half by April 1st of the following year, okay? Again, this is probably more for your clients that are probably going to be already retired or going into retirement, but it's good information for you guys to know on there, especially if you guys have a 401k or an IRA yourself. Now, RMD rules do not apply to the Roth or the Roth 403bs. Why is that? They've already been taxed, so the IRS could care less. They've already collected their tax on that. All right, so what is an IRA? It's called an individual retirement account. Set up, basically self-managed. It's your account, okay? You guys have an IRA? Anybody? Okay. For those of you who didn't raise your hand, open up your own IRA. Why? Because us as professionals, we get paid on our own money. I'll never forget when I transferred over my 401k from my old job, and I got a nice fat $13,000 check for my own money for doing that. So if you guys haven't started an IRA or don't, just do it, you know, and you're going to get paid on that. It's a tax qualified plan, okay, that like employer plans, okay, they basically are tax deferred growth and they're tax deductible. They're not limited to the narrow selection of events. So it's not like a 401k and 403b. In an IRA, you can have stocks, bonds, mutual funds, CDs, money market, annuities. You can even have real estate in there, in an IRA on there. But again, we'll save that conversation for another time as far as how that works. Okay, Roth IRA contribution income limits. This is based on how much money a person and a couple make. So if they're filing single, $153,000 is the max that they no longer can contribute to that. Okay, if they're making 138 to 153, then they start reducing the amount of money they can actually put into the Roth. If they're married jointly, 228 is the number, and that starts adjusting right around $218,000 a year. And they raise these every single year, but it's important to note because you don't want to start an account and then all of a sudden you get that word, hey, they can't even do it. They're making too much money already. I actually had that happen to one of my clients, you know, not one that I set up, but he had another Roth IRA with another company, and he was calling me. He's like, why can't I put any more money in there? I'm like, I don't know, you know, go talk to them. But luckily I just helped them out, got on a conference call, and I said, yeah, you're making too much money. All right, so what is a 403b TSA? Okay, I've had this conversation at the schools for any of you doing that. So you got a 403b? No, I got a TSA. Okay, they don't know the difference. Okay, basically, okay, a 403b TSA. A TSA goes inside of the 403b. You can have mutual funds in there. Okay, you can have annuities. It could be a variable annuity. Okay, they're out there. Fixed annuity, which is just getting a simple interest rate, or an index annuity. Everything on this side, okay, that was annuity driven, may have surrender charges. Watch out for that, okay? Anybody know what the limit is to actually do a transfer with the surrender fee? What's the most they'll accept? No, percentage-wise. Shouldn't be over 3%. If it's over 3%, they're going to start questioning why you're doing it on there. So it's very important to understand what a surrender fee is. Come on. There you go. Now this one I show you here because this is it's old, but it's still up to date as far as the vendors list. We're right there, and we also do North American. But guys, I'll tell you quite honestly, North American's 403b product is not good. Okay, their IRA product is really good, but on the 403b side, we just don't sell North American in there. But what's the thing that you notice about this list?
They're all very.
Yeah, pretty much the majority of them, just about all of them. Jack Kraft, Oppenheimer, even MetLife. Okay, but this is one of the key things. There's a lot of competition out there. A lot of competition out there. Okay, and well, that's the great thing about this reset that we're doing. Some of them have not come back either. Okay, I'm noticing a lot less competition out there. Where before we were knocking in there, and then all of a sudden they say, "Okay, you're the fifth guy I've seen this year alone on there," and you got to compete. And now you got to sell yourself against that. Now we don't have as much competition, so great opportunity for us. That's LAUSD. The other one, Schools First. Okay, they're probably I don't know. Would you say they're the biggest, at least in Southern California? Okay.
Oh, they're everywhere.
Plan administrators for the majority of districts out there. And the great thing about it is that we're right here. Okay. We're right there as one of the approved vendors. So if anybody ever asks you, principal otherwise, hey, are you approved? You can just go straight. Yeah, you can look us up on the Schools First website or TSA Consulting Group or Omni, whoever your plan administrator is as well. All right, let's talk about 457s. Okay. I'll tell you this right now. Big push. Even bigger this year, right? This matter, 529 is just a tax code on there. And right now, Wall Street especially is really pushing them. The banks are pushing it. You walk into a bank and say, hey, have you saved for, that's the first thing they're going to push. It's going to be a 529. Again, you guys just need to understand, we're up against some behemoths out there, 529, and also the 457s, okay? For LAUSD, it's Voya, and only Voya that could do 457s. For Schools First, Kathy mentioned, nationwide. Okay, and no, Nationwide is not on your side. I don't care how beautiful a singer they get, they are not on your side. I'll share this about Nationwide. Anybody remember Katrina, Hurricane Katrina? They didn't pay a single dime of property and casualty. I think you should know that, right, Rosa? Luckily, all the other companies managed together and covered those claims, but Nationwide just got out of Dodge. Okay, they didn't pay a single dime on there. And we're seeing that now here in California as well. You guys can talk to Rosa about that a little later as far as what's going on. Let's get back on track. Okay, so 457 plans. Okay, LAUSD is selected. Voya to do that. Okay, it's approved by the UTLA, so they got all their handshake deals with all these individual organizations. Okay, this is a big selling point. No surrender fees. Funds can be accessed before 59.5 without penalty. That's all they're telling. Okay. You can access this account. There's no 59.5 rule. Okay. Sounds great, right? Let's talk about the difference. Okay. Schools First is doing exactly the same thing with Nationwide. But here's the big difference on there. Can you really get to your money with the 457? So, well, number one, what's the big thing right there? Separation of service. How many teachers are going to retire by 59.5? Okay. None. So that's out the door. Okay. Plus, if you need the money, okay, you have to have an unforeseeable emergency, sudden and unexpected illness, loss of your property to casualty, other similar extraordinary circumstance. Again, the key word is unforeseeable and extraordinary. Okay. Versus the 403B, which it says right here, it's less restrictive. You can use it for unreimbursed medical expenses, payments to purchase a principal residence. You could do that with the 401k too. You can use it to buy a house, your first house. Okay. Higher education expenses, payments to prevent eviction, foreclosure. A lot more flexibility than a 457 plan as well. But yet, they're pushing it like crazy. These big companies are leaning on the plan administrators and they're pushing it on there. I ran into a principal at Westminster, Principal Cohen. I talked to him for a little bit, and he has a 403B and he has a 457. And this is what he told me. I said, when I became a principal, they told me this was a requirement. I had to get a 457. Okay. They forced every single, if you guys talk to principal at the LAUSD, I legally
Ethically,
they mandated it.
Well,
But he made
if they have a discretionary fund, they can do that.
Yeah,
They get an extra fund every
yeah, like a little
month.
fringe benefit.
But the 457 plan too can never be exchanged with another plan while they're there.
No.
So and that's why they want them to get it.
locked in.
It's locked.
So,
It's locked. You can't touch this money. You can't touch it until they retire on there. And again, the key thing is most of them don't even realize that, hey, you know, I'm 55. I want my money. What do you mean I can't get it? I have to quit? Okay. They don't explain that part. And they're pushing it like crazy.
If they do leave, do they have access to it?
They'll have access if they have separation of service. If they leave the school district or police department, then
yeah, but
all bets are off.
If they're before 55, they can roll it over.
Yeah.
But they can't actually start taking money.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So we do 403B rollovers every day. They can't touch the money themselves, but can we do a rollover as well?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
So we can't even do it.
No.
We can't touch it. We can't touch it.
Unless they leave the district.
Right.
Yeah.
But in service.
In service, can't touch it.
but not for 57.
Yeah. Only the 403B will do that.
That's why they want them in those plans because they can never move.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody's getting paid for those. I don't know.
What's that? They do 457 accounts, but I'm not sure if they
But
do
they're
it here.
not approved.
They're not approved. Only Voya.
But you would have to change the whole city would have to buy in.
Or the whole system.
Yeah.
I mean, if an officer he's not with that police department anymore.
Then you roll that into an IRA.
Roll that into an hour. All right. Any questions on this, guys? Very important because this essentially is our competition right here. They're going to decide, hey, I got a 457 or a 403B, which one's better? So know the differences between the two. Okay? All right, let's keep going. Okay, you'll get this question. How safe is your company? Okay? How safe is National Life? What do you know about National Life? National Life, you guys should know that as far as who they are, how long they've been around, how safe they are, the ratings, yada, yada, yada. But really what it comes down to, what people really want to hear is, are you FDIC insured? Okay? Investment products such as mutual funds, annuities, life insurance policies, stocks, bonds, and money market aren't FDIC insured because that's what the general public knows. What they are is covered by the California Life and Health Insurance Guarantee Association. That's a mouthful. When you guys deliver your policy, they're on there. Okay? This is basically who insures your life, your health, your annuities on there. And in my opinion, it's probably a little better than FDIC because they have higher limits. And you guys can go to their website and download all their information. Yes, go ahead. What's that? Yeah.
Every single insurance has reinsurance.
Reinsurers.
Watches everybody else. It's
Yeah.
separate.
Watches everybody else. Okay. But basically, these are the limits for life insurance: 80% of the death benefit up to $300,000, up to 80% of the cash surrender value, up to $100,000 on there. So that's the coverage on that. On the annuities, 80% of the value up to a maximum of $250,000. Okay. Maximum provided by the association to an individual for all life insurance and annuities is $300,000, regardless of the number of policies or contracts covered. So if they have both an IUL and annuity, then their number is $300,000. That's going to be their max. Okay.
So it doesn't matter how, let's say you have 5.
If they have 5, 300,000 is the number. Okay. Very important you guys know this, but this is basically the organization that's going to take care of them. Go ahead.
So for clarity purposes, to explain to the client, what they want to know is if the company goes belly up, what we're saying here is your product is insured up to this amount.
Yeah,
what we're saying?
yeah. And to be quite honest with you, life and annuity companies don't go anywhere.
We know that, but they're asking this question
Yeah.
because of that. That's what they want to know.
Yeah, this is what they want to
If it
know.
goes belly up, where's my money gonna be?
Yeah.
So this is
And if you come like across a $600,000 IRA, the ideal thing would be to split it between North American and National Life or National Life and Annuity, so you kind of
You
spread that
split
money.
the
Yeah,
wealth.
you don't want it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, not that they would go under, but just
right from their perspective. That's the question.
So George, these amounts are per account that
Yeah.
they have. So
And
if they have
it-
accounts, it's 200.
They'll probably change again in the future. Again,
No, no, no.
inflation.
No, it's a
No.
max.
that's the max per
The max is
company.
300,000.
Yeah, 300,000.
So
Yeah,
that's
per
just
company.
separate
She's
point.
saying split it. If
Yeah.
one company goes under, the other company's still around.
So if your
Yeah.
client has 5 IULs and 2 annuities with National
There's your life, then
it's
it, yeah, it's
still
per
only a
company.
max.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they both go belly up, it's still 300,000.
But
And,
it's, you know, you just have to be, I mean, we used to talk about this a lot, and we need to get back to it again. 2008, over 700 banks failed, 0 insurance companies. So the way that their asset managements are set up is totally different than banks. So this is the safest bet. This is the backbone of our country financially that nobody talks about.
I don't know how many people, I'm sorry, how many people caught that power freeze, but that's a power freeze.
Yeah.
How many people can repeat it? 'Cause I mean, I hope
Come on.
In
people know-
2008, over 700 banks failed, 0 insurance companies.
Ooh.
and to her point, the insurance industry or life and annuity insurance industry is the backbone. They fund mortgages. Banks don't have money. That's why banks are here today and then gone the next day, just like Silicon Valley on there. They also fund credit cards. Okay. The big projects, that Staples Center, that was all funded by insurance money. Okay. Why? Because they're highly regulated. They always have to maintain a certain proportion of assets to their contract. I actually saw that twice in the early 2000s where a company had to stop selling because their assets, their obligations caught up to their assets. That was MetLife,
Yeah, Big Forest.
Genworth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Okay. So getting ready to meet with the client. Okay. For you that don't have any experience, make sure you have your 8 hours of annuity training and keep up your 4 hours every 2 years to stay complicit on that. Okay. If you run across an opportunity, call your upline or call whoever opened up the school, whatever that is. Okay. Because they will assign an experienced rep that will assist and train you on your first deal. We have a couple in here. You know, I know Manny's done a couple. Kathy, myself, I've done hundreds on there. Alan, you've done a few as well. Again, get help. Okay, especially on your first deal. Monica and I had an opportunity to actually talk about one potential deal, and unfortunately, couldn't touch it on it.
But I became the agent for that.
Yeah, but you became the agent. So in the future, you know, might be a few years, 5 years or so, you'll get that opportunity as well. Okay, and real quick, I want to touch upon this as well. You guys are going to run into a lot of orphan clients with National Life. Okay, I don't know if we got any of those forms, but I'm sure Javier will email it to you. One of the key things, even if there's no money to be made, make them your client. Okay, because when you, especially if they haven't seen their agent for 5 years, 10 years, they're out there, make them your client and provide a service, because you'd be amazed how referrals come and other opportunities come by you making them their client. It may not be for their immediate needs, okay? But if they have an orphan 403B or an orphan IUL that nobody's talked to them, nobody's done an annual review, make them your client, okay? Because once they're your client, all bets are off. You can do a lot of different things. You might be able to get a family member, husband, kids policy on there. So that's my recommendation to you as well. Okay. But again, I can't emphasize enough. Make your first goal. Don't try to do it by yourself. Annuities are not easy. They're great when they pay out, but they're not easy. I'm dealing with one right now where I'm trying to get a client's money off cost basis from a company that just won't let it go. Anybody know what cost basis is? Okay. So I'll tell you this brief story and I'll wrap it up. Client defaulted on a loan. Okay. 10 years ago. She didn't even know. Okay. She borrowed like, I don't know, $10,000 and she defaulted on it, paid the taxes and the penalty, and she thought, okay, my money, oh well, so I screwed up, 10%, all done. What she didn't know is that loan stayed active. So it's Miss Luz that you and I met with, okay? Now her loan balance is over $20,000 at 7% interest. And an account that she's only making, I think it was only 3%. So she's losing, okay? And right now she's trying to pay off the loan, get the balance transfer, and the company won't let it go. Why? Because the cost basis is future interest on the loan that they haven't even collected. Okay. And I think the last time we checked back in January, it was up to $5,700. Just called the other day and it's down to $5,300. So they don't want to let it go. They want that money until it's fully exhausted. So again, those are the types of things you're going to run into. So talk to an experienced person. Okay. It'll cost you a small split. Okay. But the education is probably going to be worth 500 times that, because you'll become an expert to do your own and your income's going to soar. Yes.
As long as if I may, Wall Street will do anything and everything they can even dream up to keep their money.
Oh yeah.
They do not want to.
Probably even worse today.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah. It's probably even worse today because all these companies are trying to hold on to those assets. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. Any last minute questions before we wrap up?
I do have a question. So if I'm only appointed with Columbus and I do run across a $500,000 rollover, so then I just do like half with Columbus and then go to you for National Life. I have
Yeah.
National Life, but it's not with FFS.
Okay, yeah, just come to us and
And then
We'll go.
just deal
Does
with
We'll work at
Columbus do 403?
They don't do
No.
403bs, by the way.
So okay.
Oh, that would be rollovers to an IRA.
to an
okay.
IRA, or what you were saying, split your money. I'm sorry, when you were saying like.
With the IRA, yeah, so that North American, you can get, they actually have a great product, the Versachoice.
For IRA.
For
for
IRA,
IRA.
and I think Symetra is the new company that FFS just.
Y'all cover more about the rate.
Yeah, we'll cover that.
I'll cover that rate.
Okay.
Literally.
Any last minute questions, guys? All right. Thank you for your time.
Round of applause. George.